When you write down a goal, it makes it real, it makes you think about how that goal is defined, and it makes you think how you're going to get there. If you set a goal and you go after it, then sometimes you can do anything you want, something you might have thought impossible, like, hey, running a marathon. Set the goal, write it down, talk about it, get a shirt, get a medal, everything's cool.
By setting and communicating those goals to others, it helps them help me stay focused on the goals and ultimately achieve success that much quicker.
I wish that you learned something a little bit about yourself in this process. I know I did, and I wish you the best of luck with it.
Hey Pac, welcome to this MyWolf training module about goal setting. So MyWolf is going to be the tool that we will use as an organization to enter, measure, and review all goals. I'm Jen Franco, and I am from Global Talent Management. And I have a couple of friends with me here on the phone today, also from Global Talent Management. I have Karen Freed.
Hey, Pac. Thanks, Jen, for having us on the call.
Sure. And David Green.
Hey, Pac. Hey, Jen. Thanks for having me on the call.
Awesome. So we know that sometimes setting goals can be difficult or confusing, and it's just hard all around. So what we wanted to do is share some important information with you about goals and how those work in MyWolf. So here's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the importance of goals. We're going to talk about the SMART goals framework. We're also going to talk about performance versus professional goals. And then we're going to jump in the app and kind of tool around in there. So let's start with why set goals. So setting goals gives us a sense of purpose. It also gives us a sense of focus. And that's important because it provides context for choices of what we're going to do next, right, in our actions day to day. And it helps us to kind of focus on moving forward and keeps us on track so that we know when to say no to some of those things that aren't contributing toward us achieving our goals. So it really helps us kind of narrow down in on what we want to achieve day in and day out throughout our workday. Also, it helps us develop a sense of responsibility and how we can measure our own growth. And why wouldn't we want to set goals? You know, Wayne Gretzky once said, you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. The shots that you make help you make your goal. And so that's what we want to talk about today is getting those goals set in place.
So, Jen, you just said that goals help us have a purpose and stay focused, and we're measurable and responsible. So that kind of reminds me of the reason why Blue Wolf created a plan on the page. And I'm happy to be part of an organization that has purpose and focus and is responsible and is engaged in growth. So that kind of like makes this make a little bit more sense. I've been seeing this plan on a page for quite some time. We flash it up all the time. But these, in fact, are the company's goals. And that's why we took the time to have them. And we've been talking about them, but I guess what we're going to talk about today is really how do I get this one piece of paper that talks about what the company's going to do, and how do I personalize it and make it about what I'm going to do and how I'm going to perform here at Blue Wolf.
Exactly. I couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
So let's get to that next piece. So we're going to talk about SMART goals. We really want to set ourselves up for success, and at Blue Wolf we use the SMART goals framework, which is to be specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely.
Okay, so Jen, if I understand you correctly, this framework just tells us how to create the best goals possible, and so that kind of makes sense. A goal shouldn't be too vague. It should be pretty specific as to say what I want to do and what I want to get out of it. I should definitely be able to say whether or not I achieved the goal, so I want to know my starting point and my end point, so measurable is definitely a good way to have it. We want to make sure that our goals, that we're setting ourselves up for success, and the next two things kind of speak to that. Like, is it achievable? Yeah, I want to make sure that I'm successful. And is it realistic? Is it something I'm going to work towards? And is it something that I believe is realistic for me? And then the timeliness really sets a sense of urgency. Is this something I need to do right now because I need a goal that's going to be completed in an hour, bake a cake, or is this something that's going to take a year, develop a specific skill? That I need the thing that needs to be added to that is experience or time. So I'm really glad that Blue Wolf has something called SMART goals. Do you guys have any questions about SMART goals?
Karen, I was just thinking as you were going through SMART goals, we used to do this when I was playing college football. We would set up every quarter SMART achievement goals 4 times a year, and it was really, really pivotal in driving not only our team success, but also the individual success as well. I really believe SMART goals are a step in the right direction for how we're going to do this.
That's great.
Cool. So there's got to be some kind of finesse involved whenever you're trying to set your SMART goals, right? Because I think that I might struggle with what's too general versus what's too specific. Karen, can you help me understand? Maybe we can talk about an example?
Yeah, definitely. And I'm sure you're not alone in this. And so let's go through this and see that everyone may maybe be able to apply to this. Let's take an example. So onboarding. We at Global Talent Management and at Blue Wolf want to improve the onboarding process. So that's pretty specific. We want to improve the onboarding process for new hires at Blue Wolf. So that would be a specific SMART goal. Is it measurable? Yeah, we can actually note out all the things that we want to do pertaining to putting in the offer letter, getting them set up on their benefits, getting them a desk and a computer and a phone, getting them on finances, payroll, them understanding what Blue Wolf actually does as an organization, and then rolling them into their role specific. So measurable is definitely something that we can do, and whether those are measured through reports or maybe these are just action items. So definitely. Is this achievable? Yeah, well, everybody listening to this call has been onboarded, good, bad, or indifferent on that process, but it is achievable. In order to improve this, we definitely could achieve that as a goal for this year. Is it realistic? Yeah, I think I speak for a lot of people here at Blue Wolf saying that this is something I'm invested in. I think it's realistic and something that we could improve here at Blue Wolf. And timely, I definitely think we can improve our onboarding process in the next 6 months and make strides to get it moving better. Jen, does that help you?
It does. That's helpful. So I need a little bit of help if we can take it down maybe to a more narrow space. So I get that for new hires, but what would be an example about others who are here working now?
Sure. Okay, well, let's try another one. What if, Jen, I asked you or David or anyone on the phone to become a Blue Wolf ambassador? So my SMART goal is for you to become a Blue Wolf ambassador. That's pretty specific. I'm not asking you to become an ambassador of another company. It's for Blue Wolf. And the areas that I specifically want you to work around are the areas that will be measurable. So, Jen, for you to become a Blue Wolf ambassador, I want you to get a Net Promoter Score of 7.5 or higher. That's a rating that your clients are going to give to you. Your clients are Blue Wolf's employees, so we'll have to put out a survey and ask how you're doing. I want to make sure that you meet up with a bunch of other people. Those are all the measurable tasks that I'm going to ask for you to become a Blue Wolf ambassador. Is it achievable? Without a doubt, Jen. I know you have the skills. I'm just giving you a little area of focus as to what behaviors I'm looking for. Is it realistic? Without a doubt. I believe that this is a realistic goal for you. And in a timely manner, I think by the end of the year, you could be focused on being a Blue Wolf ambassador. And next year, in 2015, we can think about different areas to develop that growth professionally and in your performance so that you can continue to be a Blue Wolf ambassador. Does that help explain how a SMART goal can be crafted? It could be used across the entire organization. And then I said specifically in Global Talent Management what that would look like for you.
That's perfect. That helps me. David, what about you? That work for you?
Yeah, I like that. Very specific.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, let's keep moving. All right, so there is a difference when you're setting your goals. There is a difference between performance and professional goals in MyWolf. So performance goals are really the goals that are expected of you. They're based on your current role and responsibilities here at Blue Wolf. There are also professional goals. Those are more skills-based or maybe focused on aspirations. These can come, for instance, from your EEP. They can also come maybe through feedback that you received from others or any additional professional goals that you might want to set for yourself that helps you achieve that 3-year career plan. One of the cool things about the EEP was that we had the ability to set performance goals and long-term professional goals when we went through that process with our manager. And with MyWolf, you may have had actually both performance and professional goals that make up the goals in your EEP today. And the cool part is now that's fully integrated with MyWolf. So the EEP goals that you have currently can now be set in MyWolf as your MyWolf goals. So the goals section of MyWolf now replaces the goals section of the EEP.
Okay,
Is that clear?
Jen, can I ask you a question? So in the EEP, I wrote down my aspirations and I wrote down my goals, but you're saying that I could take those goals, whether those were performance or professional, and I like the difference between the two, and I could put both of those, and I should put both of those into MyWolf in the goals section.
Absolutely.
Okay, so can I ask you one other question? Performance goals are pretty cut and dry, right? They're not elaborate. They're pretty clear. They're the way in which we need to perform to maintain the current position we're in, and then even possibly stretch us to the next level in our growth for promotion or changing career here at Blue Wolf, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yep. The tool is all-encompassing so that everything is in one place, and it's easy for you to have those conversations with your manager because it's all right there together in one place in the goals section.
Okay, so these are the things I'm working on. These are the things I'm working on to improve my performance here, and here's the things I'm doing to develop myself as a professional at Blue Wolf.
That's right.
That's pretty cool. Hey, Jen, can I ask something about another video that we did? I probably have some professional goals that I might want to put in there that might pertain to some feedback that I got. I can do that, right? I can put in any amount of, is there a limit to how many goals I put in there?
Nope.
Great, and can I make my goals private so no one else has to see them?
You can, and we're actually going to talk about that in a second once we jump into the app.
Okay. All right, so as long as I know there's two different types of goals, there's a performance. And are we giving them performance goals, or are they creating their own?
So we're going to actually, I'm glad you asked that. The organization is trying to find ways to make it as easy as possible for folks as we launch our new performance management system and get focused on our goals and prepare for the upcoming launch of performance. And so as in preparation for that and to make it as easy as possible for the PAC, we are going to go ahead and upload goals for everyone, and we're going to align them. So we're going to add metrics. We're going to make it as easy as possible for everyone, especially because mid-year performance reviews are coming up fast.
Great. Okay, so the ones that we're going to load in, the ones Blue Wolf is going to tell me about, are my performance ones, the ones that are tied to my current position and role and responsibility here at Blue Wolf.
That's exactly right.
Awesome. Thanks, Jen.
Sure. I want to make note here before we jump into the app, because we're going to go there next, that you were asked when you attended the MyWolf training initially for Phase 1 launch, which was goals recognition and feedback, you were asked to transfer your EEP goals into MyWolf. And we still want you to do that because it's very applicable to this process. If by chance you had performance goals that were in your EEP, it's okay that you went ahead and put those into MyWolf, even though the company is automatically uploading those. When you go through your mid-year review with your manager, you can talk through, where there might be duplication and where you might need to eliminate maybe one of the goals that you had created because now it's already been covered by what the company has uploaded for you.
A little
Right.
different, Jen, than in the EEP there was this whole approval and submitting and lockdown. Now, when a goal lives in MyWolf, you can edit it, right?
Yep, you can edit it. It's beautiful. It's really
Great.
easy.
Okay.
I'm in the EEP sandbox, and I'm looking at the profile. I'm in MyWolf, the app, and I've got, as you can see, my profile automatically shows my chatter feed. I need to get to my goals. So I'm going to drop down this little menu here and click on goals. In production, I believe goals is just a tab that you can click. So I just want to get to my goals and what I've got here. So when I open up my goals list view is what it defaults to automatically. And the first thing that I want to remind us about is how to create a goal. So if you are going to create a goal, you simply click on the Create Goal button, and you create your goal. So I'm going to become a Blue Wolf ambassador. And I want to do that. I'm going to say that's a goal I want to achieve by the end of the year. So I'm going to give myself till December 31st to do it. And I am going to say engage and exhibit behaviors that are best practices for Blue Wolf standards and engaging in our culture. How about that?
Great.
Okay. So the next step that you would take would be to decide whether or not this goal is private or public. And so let's pause to talk about that, because I mentioned earlier that I was going to take a moment and explain that to you. So I want to make sure everybody knows, and I think many do, but whenever you create a goal in MyWolf, the goal, if you do not mark it private, it shows up in your chatter feed as a goal that you created. So that's what I would call a quote-unquote public goal, a goal that is not marked private. And that means that anybody can see it. Not only in your chatter feed, but they can also view your goals in MyWolf as well, if they're public. So I'm going to go ahead and mark this as a private goal so that it does not show up in my chatter feed. And it's okay. There are some folks who are just really not comfortable with their goals showing up in their chatter feed. There's a workaround for that, because there's no way in the app to adjust that except to manually adjust it yourself. So if I click on making this a private goal, I'm going to show you now how I can actually in turn make it really a private goal, but none of it has shown up in chatter. I have cheated chatter out of revealing that I created a goal.
So, Jen, let me just refresh for a second here. If I create a goal and do nothing about it, it's a public goal. All right, that day it shows up on chatter. Woo-hoo. But people who come and visit my profile, they can actually see my goals unless I mark them private. So if I don't want it to show up in chatter and I don't want anyone to see my goals, then I'll make them private, and I need to check it off. The next thing that you're going to show me is I'm going to let people who come to my chatter, that come to my profile, see my goals, but I just don't want it to show up in chatter, right?
That's what I'm showing you, yep.
So you're showing me the chatter cheat.
I'm showing you the chatter cheat, yeah. And this is the workaround for that. Okay, I've marked this goal as private, and so I'm going to click Save. Okay, so it opens up the record, and you can see that it's marked private. To change it to public, I simply click on private, uncheck the box that says make this a private goal so only the people you invite can see it, and I click close. And now it switches to public. So if I go over here to my profile, which defaults to my chatter feed, you can see that none of that information is in my chatter feed. It's just not there.
Okay.
So are there any questions around that?
So, Jen, I got the whole chatter cheat, whatever. Now, become a Blue Wolf ambassador is your goal. Can we take a closer look at that for a second?
Sure.
So become a Blue Wolf ambassador is similar to like onboarding. Like some of it's measurable and some of it's actionable. So can we talk about like maybe some of the activities that you have to do to become a Blue Wolf ambassador?
Sure. So you mean like if you wanted to help create some tasks and events for yourself to help you slowly achieve this?
Yeah.
Keep you on track? Okay. So I'm going to go to the Activities tab, and this is where you can add tasks and events. So let's, for instance, let's add a task, and let's call that task certification. Admin certified. How about that?
Sure. So in order for you to become a Blue Wolf ambassador, you should be admin certified. And, you know, Jen, when you get that certification, GTM will give you the badge, and that's kind of how we can measure that you are certified. So that's great.
Yep. I'll give myself to the end of the year to do it.
Sure.
And I'm in the progress. I'm just editing this task as appropriate, and I would enter all these fields, and then I would just click Save.
Yep.
So task is saved.
So, Jen, there's probably like 7 or 8 tasks, so we can go through them later on. We don't need to bring everybody on board. But what this will help us do is when we're having a conversation on our one-on-ones, maybe, you know, quarterly, I could say, how are you doing on your goals to become an ambassador? And I could see which tasks we're due and how well you're doing to those. Maybe there's an article that you need to read. Maybe, you know, reading or joining the book club about the trusted advisor is one of the things that I would want as a task, and I can give you a due date. And we can really move you along in creating your goal.
That's right.
Okay.
So I think Salesforce is timing out on me here, so I'm going to just switch to a different view. It didn't want me to save that task, so I abandoned ship.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay. So just to kind of quickly review, we've talked about the difference between performance and professional goals, right? So you can see here that there are goals already in here for me, launching My Wolf phases 1, 2, and 3. We might consider those the goals that were preloaded for me by the company, which we'll be doing for everyone. And each of those will be aligned. And then you can see here that we've got the Blue Wolf Ambassador goal, which might be more like a professional goal and not necessarily a performance goal.
Well, why don't you open up a goal, and I'll just walk people through what some of the parts of the goal.
Okay.
So for those of you who haven't already created any goals and are watching this for the first time, your goals are going to be preloaded in, your performance ones, and as you transfer your EEP ones in or come up with a new one, you'll have a detail around your goal. You can invite other people to it. You know, sometimes there's power in just letting people know. As a manager, you probably might invite your team around a goal. You're also able to invite coworkers to a particular goal. The other part is a metric. Like, how are we going to measure this particular goal? So some of the things that we do on our day in and day out life is actually found in Salesforce. So if it's a task or something or an opportunity or a project that we're already tracking in Salesforce, there might be an associated report to that. And you could actually tie this particular goal to a metric that's being driven in a report in Salesforce. So one of the things that you can do is associate the metrics, and you can either write that what type it's going to be, and there's 3 types to choose from. You can either measure your progress as a percentage, so how much of this is completed. So going back to Jen becoming a Blue Wolf ambassador, we're probably going to track her progress. There's really not going to be a report that's going to show it to me. She's going to manually track that. So she could say she's 33% there, okay? Mm-hmm. Or we can track actuals versus targeted. So if I'm in a sales organization and I have a goal and a quota, how well am I tracking to that? And you can put in what the value is and what the target is and what date they need to complete it by. And then the last one is achievement-based completion. So as you complete your task, It's going to tell you how well you've achieved your goals.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can either choose to manually update your goals, or you can tie them to a report in Salesforce. We're actually in a sandbox where we don't have our reports, but if you were to click that radio button, Jen, a list of reports will show up for you, and you could just pick which report you want to drive as your metric here.
Yes,
And keep
and
in mind,
the view that returns for you is a list of the reports that you have recently viewed.
yes.
Yep, and that's right here where it says no reports available. That's where that list would show up.
Okay. And then keep in mind, you might actually have a multifaceted SMART goal that has a couple of different metrics to run by. Like in order for Jen to become an ambassador, she has to have certifications, which are measurable. She has to read a book, which is not measurable. She might need to attend a class or get an NPS score from people. That is measurable. So you really want to have this multidimensional view.
Mm-hmm. You can add, as you can see from this view of the goal record, at the bottom here, you can see the metrics that have already been put in place, but you can also see that you can continue to add metrics.
That's great. Hey, Jen, what if they have questions, like when they get down to this part? If they're, they're managers, but they may or may not know. They'll probably be well-versed in what a SMART goal is, but who else can they talk to?
They can absolutely call any one of us on our team. Their talent coach is probably their best first connection, and that would be to myself or Nilu. You can just reach out to your community leader to identify who your talent coach is, or if it's just something that you're really just trying to get it done, that we are available. So you can call, ping, email, whatever it is, and we'll do what we can to help out. You can also use the the org support box. And I wonder if that shows up here. Yeah, you can use the org support feedback loop box in the top left of our sidebar, and you can click general support and submit a ticket, and that goes into our queue, and we respond to those right away.
That's great. Thanks, Jen.
Sure. I think that's about everything within the app. Did you have anything else you wanted to add while we're here, Karen or David?
No.
Oh, this looks great. Thanks, Jen. This is awesome.
Sure.
I guess the last thing I would want to mention is this is our first time having individuals track their own goals from EEP. So, realistic, my SMART goal for rolling out the goals portion of work.com is we're going to give it your best shot, and we're going to learn a lot from this process. So don't be afraid to put something in there. You can delete it, and don't be afraid to ask for support. We're here to help you.
Yes. That concludes goal setting in my world.
Thanks, Jen. Thanks, Pac.